Now, with all the latest afternoon headlines, it's the ITV Lunchtime News.
A glimmer of Christmas hope. Official findings suggest Omicron is less likely to result in serious illness. It comes as people are urged to get a wonderful booster jab gift on Christmas Day as part of a national drive to top up people's protection.
This is an incredible, they adapt to it, they rise to the challenge. They're just motivated to get this done. They are incredible.
Also this lunchtime, a very personal Christmas message from the monarch in her first festive address since the death of Prince Philip. And after numerous delays, NASA prepared to launch a $10 billion telescope to help unlock more secrets of the universe.
This is ITV News with Sangeeta Kandola.
Good afternoon. The head of the UK's Health Security Agency says there is a glimmer of Christmas hope after new data showed the Omicron variant may be less likely to result in serious illness. It comes as the rollout of the booster vaccine programme continues apace, with vaccine centres across the country staying open throughout Christmas. Today, the Prime Minister, in his Christmas message, urged all those eligible to get a booster, describing it as a wonderful gift. But as infections continue to rise, there are concerns more restrictions may still be needed in England. Sejal Karia has the latest.
Get the gift of the jab this Christmas is the message from the government, and in Swindon it was one many were heeding. This vaccination centre busy this morning, with most here getting their booster.
At the end of the day, I'd rather have the booster and be protected than wait and possibly get it and infect my family.
As long as I'm doing what I can do to be safe, then that's as much as I can do, really.
And naturally expect there to be more restrictions because since the cases are rising very quickly.
Across Spain, Swindon and Wiltshire, we've normally given 6,000 vaccines a day. We're now doing 20,000. Having a endpoint to it helps, but they're just motivated to get this done. They are incredible.
In his Christmas message, the Prime Minister described the vaccine as an invisible and invaluable present during a pandemic that's far from over. Cases are surging, he said, while paying tribute to NHS workers.
And though the time for buying presents is theoretically running out, there is still a wonderful thing you can give your family and the whole country, and that is to get that jab.
Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer similarly thanked key workers who've saved countless lives this year.
Communities have come together to help one another. Key workers have saved countless lives.
Workers who the NHS say are once again under significant pressure because of record infection rates, with nearly 120,000 cases reported yesterday, leading to high numbers of staff off sick or isolating. Those soaring rates may also lead to higher numbers of hospitalisations, despite initial studies suggesting Omicron may cause a milder illness. Scientists stress further restrictions should not be ruled out.
If you see that the nature of the virus is more transmissible, even though it's half as severe, if it's 2 or 3 times as more transmissible, you preempt that surge in transmission by in-person restrictions earlier rather than later.
Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland are introducing further restrictions from Sunday, but England is sticking to Plan B measures, with ministers saying no new curbs are needed currently, but they're keeping the situation under review. Sejal Karia, ITV News.
Well, our political correspondent Daniel Hewitt joins me now. Daniel, we heard from the Prime Minister there. He still has a decision to make about whether new restrictions are needed after Christmas in England. That seems to look less likely now.
Yeah, I think it's less likely by the day. Usual caveat, disclaimer, whatever you want to call it, things can change very fast. And the government is still looking at data. The severity data has been very encouraging. It's heading in the right direction. There's still lots to look at with hospital admissions, although that data looks like it's more encouraging as as well in the last few days. I think what this severity data has done is it's made Boris Johnson's life much more difficult within his own cabinet if he wanted to try and convince them restrictions are needed. We know the cabinet is split. One minister this week told me it's about 70-30 in favour of restrictions, and that third has been bolstered by the fact that this severity data suggests restrictions might not be needed. Boris Johnson will have two choices next week. He'll either have to recall Parliament, that'll take 2 or 3 days, so restrictions wouldn't come in until probably the 29th or 30th, or he could bring in guidance. He could say to the nation, look, this is the information we have, please be careful on New Year's Eve. So it's between guidance and legislation, but right now the direction of travel is less likely to need restrictions next week.
OK, Daniel, thank you very much. The Queen's Christmas message is expected to be more personal this year. In her first one since the death of Prince Philip, Her Majesty will be wearing the special sapphire brooch she wore on their honeymoon in 1947. Meanwhile, Kate has a special surprise, adding her own musical talent to a Christmas carols concert on ITV tonight. Yasmin Boldabai has more.
The Queen always sits alone to deliver her Christmas speech, but this year the absence of her late husband will be felt strongly throughout the message. It is her first since the death of Prince Philip and is expected to be particularly personal, reflecting on a year of loss for her family and many, many others.
The Queen is always tremendously positive and wishes to make us all feel good, and she will probably remind us of all the great efforts that everybody is making to get on top of the pandemic, to help the NHS. She will know that many people are making sacrifices.
We don't know exactly what the Queen will say, but there are powerful visual tributes to the Duke of Edinburgh. Next to her, a photograph of the couple taken to mark their diamond wedding anniversary. Itself a recreation of a picture from their honeymoon in 1947. And for her Christmas speech, she wears the same sapphire brooch.
A very happy Christmas.
God bless us, everyone.
Prince Charles and Camilla, who've taken part in a festive reading of Dickens, will spend the day with the Queen at Windsor. And there will be more Christmas carols tonight. The Duchess of Cambridge has been hosting a concert for those who've gone above and beyond during the pandemic, to be shown later on ITV. One of those who was invited was Sebi Hall, who carried out over 2,000 acts of kindness.
We couldn't really tell anyone at the start, could we? So you were itching to tell your friends that you had to have time off college, but then you were able to tell them eventually, weren't you? It was amazing, incredible, incredible. Sebi was so excited.
And judging by this teaser, there might just be a royal turn as well. Yasmin Boldabai, ITV News.
And you can watch Royal Carols together at Christmas tonight from 7:30 right here on ITV. In other news, at least 39 people have been killed in Bangladesh after a packed ferry caught fire. Around 800 people were on board the boat that was sailing from the capital, Dhaka. Officials think the fire may have started in the boat's engine room. Here, in strike action by staff working for the train operator Cross Country is causing disruption for people heading home for Christmas. Other providers are also having to cancel services, with many staff off with COVID or having to self-isolate. And the iconic retailer Selfridges has been sold for around £4 billion to a partnership of Thai and Austrian billionaires. The deal includes 4 stores, 2 in Manchester, 1 in Birmingham, and the flagship store on London's Oxford Street. In the Premier League, Burnley's game against Everton has become the third Boxing Day fixture to be postponed due to coronavirus. It follows an outbreak in the Everton squad. Manager Rafael Benitez previously claimed he only had 9 players available for the game. Liverpool's game against Leeds and Wolves versus Watford were called off earlier this week. Now, much of our understanding of the universe comes from the Hubble telescope. It's been in space for more than 30 years. But now NASA is hoping to launch its successor, the Webb telescope, on Christmas Day, weather permitting. It's seen as having the potential for unlocking even more secrets of the universe. Mark McQuillan reports.
This is the $10 billion piece of kit upon which so much value is placed. The Webb telescope is the most expensive to have ever been built and the most powerful. Scientists hoping it will provide fresh information about the universe.
I like to think of it as NASA's vehicle for the deepest space exploration that humanity can do. It will allow us to see farther back in time to the time when the very first stars and galaxies were being born.
After 3 decades of planning, the big moment comes on a big day, Christmas Day. That's when the Webb telescope is set to launch and begin its journey of about 1 million miles. For those who've been working on the project for so long, providing some long-awaited answers could deliver the perfect gift.
Where did we come from? Those first stars and galaxies started the process of making all the elements we're made of what the Earth's made of. How do planetary systems around other stars form? What does that mean for how our planetary system formed?
Astronomers will potentially have to wait a while for answers to some of those questions. But with Webb being 100 times more powerful than its predecessor, Hubble, the chances of unearthing new information about the universe have increased greatly. Mark McQuillan, ITV News.
And finally, we find out later who comes out on top in the battle for the Christmas #1.
Presents are open and the bin bags are put away.
Just until Boxing Day.
Let's dance Merry Christmas. Get to the kitchen for sausage rolls. Kids drop your toys and dance along to rock and roll.
And Baby is again one of the favourites. Their song Sausage Rolls for Everyone has been released with Sir Elton John and Ed Sheeran. If they win the top spot today, they'll make the record match made by the Beatles of having had 4 Christmas #1s. And that is it this lunchtime. Nina will be here with the evening news at 5 to 5. The news where you are follows the national weather. From everyone here, bye-bye.